Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all okay. Thank you very much for coming back to my channel. I really do appreciate it. This is Whimsy Creations and I'm Becky. I hope you're all doing well. And as usual, if you're not, I hope this video brings you peace and calm. I know it does me. And hope you feel better afterwards. Oh, sorry. Got that going. There we go. I find these very soothing. That's why I burn them. There we go. Well, welcome back, as I said. Yes, what are we doing today? Well, I don't know if you remember. It wasn't that long ago. I did the beginning 1, 2 and 3 when I first started. Well, I thought we'd finish that off completely if we can today. If it doesn't finish right now, then I'll do one more. And just make sure my cable's not in the picture. No, I'm having to charge my phone at the same time as videoing. So here are the two signatures, these two signatures here, and I've taken out all the ephemera so that it doesn't fall while I'm putting it in and come out. If it's in envelopes, I've left it, but I've taken out just about everything else. I'll just take those two out as well, and those two out. And it may seem a weird way of doing it, but I find this quite a good system for me. Everybody does it differently, so you know, whatever suits you. This is sort of like a rough guide for beginners. It's not basic, but it is for beginners. And I'll just pop through and show you the, well, actually, we'll do that at the end. I've got some material in there that's not behaving. So, what kind of cover should we have? Well, I thought we'd have a little hardback cover. This is an old book, and I can remember being told as a little one, you never write in books and you look after books, but that was over 60 years ago. So technology has taken over, and a lot of these books now, these really old books, would go in for shredding, for mulch, which I think is very sad. I think it's nice to give them a new lease of life. So this is a very old one. This was first printed in 1923. I've taken it out of its, I've taken the signature, this is the signature, taken it out of its holder. And it belonged to a lady, I can't read her name very well, from 1964 to 1966. Then it went to Tewkesbury High School. And it's just full of poetry, actually. The tales, the Clerk Tales it is, and a lot of it's poetry. Somebody's written loads and loads of notes in, so whether it was used for teaching, I don't know. Probably, as it went from the school. So anyway, I shall keep this because this is very old. And it's got some amazing, really old portraits in it and things like that. So that bit I will keep for future use. Put that there. And this is the bit I'd like to use. As I say, I've taken this out off camera because I have to use my glass tray to do that. And, you know, as I said before, you can't see what I'm doing on the glass tray. I don't want to use this spine. It's nowhere near big enough. As you can imagine, look, this is the spine. That would be a gator mouse, and as I mentioned before, I'm not keen on gator mouse. Just thinking that this is what I'm going to use as my spine, piece of grey board, as we call it here. I think they call it chipboard in America, but we call it grey board. So that's going to go there, and it's the right size for this. I've already measured it. When all the ephemera is in, you know, it sort of goes to like that. So although it'll be this side, they both should be the same width then. And I'm going to sew it into the material first. I like to do a soft, they call a hidden spine, so you can't see the sewing when it's all put together. So I shall sew it on there. This will be in the back there, and you'll see as I go. We'll glue that on. So first things first, we have to take this spine out. That's the very first thing we have to do. So let's get some big scissors. I'm sorry, my light's flickering. Oh, blast. Sorry, just 2 ticks. Yeah, it stopped. It does do that occasionally. Don't ask me why. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. I'm just cutting this off. It's very easy. A big pair of scissors. It's nice to use one of my books. I've got a whole shelf of books that I've collected from charity shops, and it's not often you get one that fits perfectly to what you require. That's nice, isn't it? Use that in a bit of grunge, couldn't I? Anyway, don't throw anything away straight away anyway. I'll pop that on one side. Get all my bits off. Let's get this out. We don't want all these bits in with the journal. Get those out the way. Lovely. So this is going to be our spine. That's the back. That's the front. Oh, let's just get that bit off as well. There we go. And this will be in between the two. Eventually, that'll go there. And I will glue that on. That will go on. When I've sewn in my signatures, I shall glue that on there. And that will go on there like that. And I'll glue that on there like that, so to speak. But I think I will attach this first anyway, before we glue it on. So you can sew straight through the spine, but I find it quite hard work with my arthritis and everything. I find it really quite tough getting holes through this. This is why I prefer the material method. But you still have to have this secure. Can you see it? Okay. So I use all sorts of stuff. Here we go. I've got a cupboard here with lots of different types of tape. One of my favourite sorts of tape is this. It's for pulled muscles and things. It's medical tape. You won't see this, so we're going to pop that on there. Yep, let's cut that off. It stretches this quite a lot too. I'll cut another piece off as well. Put that there. I'm going to stick these on here. So I've got little, use the noise, things here. This just keeps them the right distance apart. Although it will stick to that because that's quite a thick one, that. Let me see if I've got a thinner one. Excuse me, stretching. I've got a metal one here. This one might do better. Yes. Yes, that's flat with it. We'll use the metal one. And that gives me my little gap in between. Can you see? Yep. There. So we'll take the backing off this. This is self-adhesive. It's very strong, as I say. It's designed to stick to the skin so you can protect your muscles when they're damaged. My son used to have a lot of this on his knee at one time when he had physiotherapy. And then the nice thing about using the metal rods as well is they don't stick to the glue very well. That's that one. Let's take that up. Take you off. There we go. Then you have a nice little line there. You see, just putting these two bits over. I might put another bit on the back just to make sure, absolutely sure. I do like to make sure my spines don't come off. You don't want a journal, after you've done all that work, you don't want it falling off, do you? Right, make sure I've got this level. Yep. I'm just leveling it with the bottom here. That's all I'm doing, just by eye. Nothing's really, not much is measured out really. Right. I said to somebody the other day, I make journals, junk journals. And she said, you make what? And I said, journals. Oh, I see. She didn't quite comprehend the term junk journal, which I can understand. It's not a common term, even in Britain still. Even in the UK, even now, after the amount of people there are doing it on YouTube. There we go. So I just say now, I make journals with a difference. Right. I'll put my piece of metal back later. I have to stretch a long way to get that there. There, you got a new spine. I'm just going to put a little bit on the either side of those. It doesn't have to be a full length one. It'll all be covered up anyway. I'll put that away in the cupboard. And as I say, I've got different types of tape here. I've got this sort, it's actually builder's tape, but that's sticking very, very strong, obviously. Then there's this, which is, I've never met anything as sticky as that before. Sometimes use that, and this is just your normal duct tape, which I tend not to use anymore. I just keep it in there with the other tapes so they're all together. So there's various things you can use. I'm using this tape and material, so It's kind of a belt and braces job really, and I'll be covering the spine, the whole thing as well. So yeah, it'll be well secured by the time I've finished. So just pop you there. It's very stretchy, this. It's very good stuff. And I love the fact it's it's so sticky and self-adhesive that we're not messing around with lots of wet glue or anything. We will have to when I glue the material on. Yeah, that's that bit done. So the book is ready for covering now, which we will do in a moment or two. We will cover that, make it look pretty. Right now, this is the bit I'm going to sew the journals into. I'm going to sew the journals into, the signatures into here, right, like that. So you may not be able to see it on camera, but there's two little marks on here, and that's the width of that piece of card. So I have to make sure my journals are within that and the right height. So let's bring this in. This is a bit taller than this book, so I want to make sure I get them in the right place. So I'm just gonna pop that there for a second and see where the middle is for this. Oh, there. So I'm going to make a mark at the top here, there, and there, like that. There. So now I know I've got my 4 marks there, 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 and there. So I know exactly where those 2 signatures got to go. They've got to go within this. Now you can carefully measure this, and carefully measure that, and get it perfect. I might. I don't usually. I usually just wing it. So it's pretty much 8 centimeters by. Sorry, it's not 8 centimeters. Is just over 3 inches by 17, which is like 6 3/4. Excuse me. The frog is back. The frog is back. It always is. The minute I turn the camera on, the frog comes. So we could do it more this way. So that I just like to do it by eye, really. We could do it. I mean, middle is 4, but we don't want one in the middle. We want 2 side ones. So if we did, I don't want them too far apart either. So like if we did 2.5 and 6.5, no, that's too far apart. I prefer them close together. There's the middle. Let's go one that way. We'll do one there. So we are doing one at 2.5 and then one at 5.5. There we go. That's where we'll put the middle one. So that's the middle. And then let's put this as 17. Don't worry if you're not following this. I do tend to do ad hoc it a bit. I just really do just sort of wing it, you know. Just put them where you feel they would look good. Half of 17 is not 8.5. So that's the middle. So I'm going to go down to about 2 here, 2 or 3 here. See there? And we'll go 2 from the top here, 15. So there you go. 1, 2, 3. That's where we want our holes. And again, it's not quite in line with that one. You do want them lined up, admittedly. There we go. And then we'll do the same across here. There's my little ruler. My diddy ruler. Here it is. I prefer this one, you can see better. And then that one's there. So we want. You may not be able to see these marks, and I apologise, but I don't like to mark it heavily because I don't want to see them. You see, I want them to sort of disappear into the background. There. So I will mark these with my I use the little hole, and I'm just going to punch little holes where I put my mark, and then you'll be able to see them a bit better. This will go through material. See, and I can put this through here, but when I put it through the card, if I was doing card, I'd find it really quite difficult. Whereas, as I say, they don't have to be absolutely perfect, just in the general vicinity of where you want them. And if you've got a lot more, obviously you have them less spaced out. It's really very much personal preference. I mean, some people say, oh, you have to do this and you have to do that. I think when you're making something from scratch like this, and I don't think there is any really set fast rules. I mean, there's some things that make life easier. There's things that make things look a little better. But just making my holes clear. They're quite big holes, but as I say, I glue them down. Right, I'm just going to get a bit of paper, scrap paper, so I can make sure these holes line up with the holes in my book. So I just need a piece of scrap paper, she says, trying to find a piece of scrap paper. Oh, here we go. A piece over here will do. Here we go. I've got some white. Here we go. I'll use a bit of this. I don't know what it is, but as long as one side, I don't want it too big. There we go. Use this. Right then. Let's mark. Oh, look at that. Spot on, the right length. I don't have to cut it down. We're putting them. That's the top. We're putting them there, 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 and that's the bottom. Just put the top here. You'll see why I've done that in a minute, because I'm going to do the same in here. So let's. Now this is the one with the envelope in. Remember that we want to. I think I did this on camera. Well, once we've sewn this up, we're going to glue that down, and you won't see these stitches. So I am going to use a clip. Some people use clips, some people don't. I'm going to just make it a little easier to keep in place. I'm just going to just tapping it around, make sure everything's nice and. What's that? Oh, that's okay. Nothing's where it shouldn't be. Put that up there. Yeah, happy with that. So we'll pop this in here. That's the top. It's the top of the book. Now we can mark this better because you're not going to see this. So I'm just going to do it with a heavier pen. If I wasn't going to cover it up, I'd have to do it. But I'm just going to do it with the dark pen so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. And we'll use that for the other one as well. And we're going to put some holes in there. And again, a lot of people don't make holes, they just push them through, which is great if you can do that. I can't. Like that. What was that? Was there something in there? That made an awful noise. Didn't normally make that noise. Anyway, it seems to be all right. And then, because I can't push the needle through, because of my arthritis, my right hand, I have to look after my right hand with a lot of TLC, so I can do anything that saves it. So that's one, and that one will go in the first one there. Shall we pop that in straight away while it's clipped together? Right, what colour thread shall we use? I've got loads of different colours. I think that one blends very nicely. You can either do them so they blend, or you can do them so they don't. This one's open. You are going to see. Nope, you're not going to see any of this. You might see the inside of that one, but I'm going to use this one because it's open. Yeah, I've got some dark ones as well. So let's just pull this. I don't actually cut it off until the end. Some people measure 3 and cut it off. I just tend to leave it attached. I think when you're starting out, it's easier. You don't have it. You want a blunt needle. Yeah, relatively blunt needle. Nice big tapestry needle here with a big eye at the top. So you can just push that through there. So what we do, where you start is where you finish. That's the easiest way of knowing whether you have your bows, your knots on the inside or the outside. So it's wherever you start. So I'm going to start here. This is what we call a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. You can do 3, 5, 9, anything you want really. It's a small journal, so I'm just going to do 3 holes, a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. And I'm just going to wind it back and forth through this piece of material. Back through there and that, and back through there. As I say, a lot of people would sew this straight into the journal. All you have to do is when you put it through that one, You just make sure you don't split the thread. If you split the thread, it won't get sharp. It won't get sharp. It won't get tight is what I meant. There, let's cut that off about there. Wind that back up for the other one. Put that there. Right, that one's in the first hole because that's my first signature. If you've got a lot of signatures, it's often worth starting at the back, apparently. I'm not entirely sure why, but apparently it's a lot better if you start at the back. I think it's easier, apparently. I mean, I've done them straight into a hard spine from the back. But over the course of time, sorry, I didn't explain that. You should have one thread one side of this and one thread this side of this. I just do this without thinking now, and I should have told you that. I'll show you on the next one. And I'm just going to do one more for luck. There we go. I'm not putting charms on this one because it's going to be covered up. And I keep these little bits. I put them, believe it or not, I do. Keep everything. Right, that's that one in. Nice and tidy. Let's turn it over and put the other one in. Here it is. Let's use our bit of paper again. And sorry, I have to lean it against me sometimes to be able to get it like how I want it. Now, pop this on, making sure you don't damage anything in the process. There, that's nice and snug. Bring our bit of paper back. Now you see why you have to have top on it. That's there. Now I'm not going to use my pen because you still might be able to see these. So I'm just going to use pencil. But I'm doing exactly what I did last time, what you could see. Probably a lot better. Right then, put our 3 holes in where I've marked. Obviously, you have to go through and make sure everything's the right way round and the right way up. I did that beforehand, before I went on camera. Yeah. Before you poke your holes, just go through your whole journal and make sure everything's the right way up. Right, another piece of this. My needle. If we don't get this finished, because I forgot to look at the time, we'll say this one in, I'll just check my camera. I'll carry on another video, okay? Well, it's not very well in the middle, is it? Never mind. Go in there. Then we go back through this one. It looks a bit hickledy-pickledy at the moment, and it is. It does flop everywhere while you're doing it. That goes in there. I'm not happy with the way that goes. I might redo those holes. I'm not happy with this at all. Pull that out. Come out. That's it. I am not happy where those holes are at all. Not these ones here, look. I'm not happy with that. Something slipped. Something clearly slipped. It's all right. I can repair it. It's not a problem. Actually, it's quite a good learning experience because, you know, I just need my head over, I'm afraid. Yeah, they are on the side. Let's put those in again. I need to be further over. This is going to be difficult because I've already got holes in. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I'll try it. Here's my needle. I know what I'll do. This is not a good example of, this is an example of what not to do. Let's see if I can use my, oh, yeah, I can. I don't want to use my hole punch again because I don't want the holes to attach, you know, to join up, because I'm putting one very close to the other one. I think the bottom one's not too bad. Yeah, those two are really well out. Let's try that this time. I apologise about that, but if you're not happy with something, don't just carry on, you know, pull it out and start again. It is on your paper, you can always cover it, repair it, change it, you know. It's good to, yeah, I prefer that. You see where that needle's coming through now? It was coming through there before. So let's do that one. That's much better. We can just put some paper on those holes. Put a strip of paper on, it'll cover it up. Through there, through there. Make sure I go through the new hole, which is there. At the bottom. top and now down to the bottom. That one was okay. Put it in there. Put it back through here. And this one will be a bit more difficult because I've only done it with the awl and not with my hole punch. I've got to make sure I don't split the thread and then I get it all the way through. Oh, that's it, it's done. Put that one under there. That's what I meant by putting them underneath each other. Pull it tight. One side. Let's get this one off. I managed to miss that 3 or 4 times in a row. Put that one under there. And like that. Just going to do 1 knot for now. Make sure I'm happy with this side of things. Yep, that's fine. Happy with that. You happy with this? Yep, I'm happy with that. So we can now do another knot and another knot. Now, I'm not chopping them off really small yet. Might put charms on, might not. It's very baggy, very baggy. It's very busy, this journal, so I may not. I may just, oh, I'm sorry, my light's off again. Put them away, and that away. I may not bother. I may just cut that off. We'll see. Take that out. Yeah, it will look a bit wobbly while it's on the material, but once the material is stuck down, it will keep it quite firm. There seems to be a big gap, but once you've got all the ephemera in, that will all fill out. So there we go. That's on there. Yep, happy with that. Put this clip away for now. Don't need it at the moment. You can use all sorts of clips. Doesn't matter what sort, as long as it's a clip. So that's that, and that will be glued into there, like that. Voila, on there like that. But that will be the last thing I do because I'll have to leave it gluing. So we're going to do I'm going to decorate the outside first. I think it's easier to decorate or embellish the outside before you put your signatures in. It's very difficult to do, and I find very difficult to do with signatures in. Sorry, just needed to have a slurp of my coffee. So let's put those signatures to one side for now. I don't need them just yet. Right, I thought I would cover it with the papers from the kit, because this is the kit one. I thought I'd have that on the front and that on the back, I think. And but they're too small. I want to cover this first. And I've got all these different sorts. I thought they might be my inside sheets, so keep them. Sorry, did you see these? And they're my front sheets. So we've got these 3. I did this one on an envelope, if you remember. I thought I used this because this is actually a bit thicker than copy paper. There's this piece, and then there's this piece as well. These both are non-windowed envelopes. None of them are actually big enough to do the whole thing in, so we could put that one on there and that one on there, which I quite like the idea of. I don't know what we'd use inside yet. I mean, we can do it this way. They don't have to match, but it doesn't give you much room at the top and the bottom, so I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to cut the white off. I'm sorry, I am going to cut the white off. It's distracting me from how I want to put it on, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to cut it off quickly. I haven't filmed for a while. It's quite nice to get back to it. I find with filming, you really do have to be in the right frame of mind to do it, you know. I admire these ladies who can just do one every day, or, you know, come on and do a 20-minute session and you've learnt a lot. I just don't work that fast, I'm afraid. So the whole point of mine are that we work slowly, we take our time, we relax, you know. Don't need this anymore. So that's going to go on here. This is going to go on here. Bum, 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 bum. I like that. That's going to go there, like that. I haven't covered one in paper for a long time. Normally when I cover them in paper, I collage, you know, collage bits on. That I still might get to doing that in a minute. Not used to doing it like this, but get it the right way round, woman. Right. Glue that on there, glue that on there. I want to take a bit out of those two. I don't want all this bulk here, so I want to take a bit out of here. Taking a bit out of this one. A bit out of that corner. A bit out of this corner. Come on. What should we glue this on with? I'm very tempted to use glue stick and tacky glue. Oh yes, lovely. I just need to taper those two in a bit more. Taper you in a tiny bit more. It's best to measure a few times and then keep cutting away and cut too much off and then think, huh, it's a gaping hole there, you know. I'm just making sure my corners are right. Yeah, the rest is relatively easy. You just need to make the corners right. I am, however, going to release this a bit. So it's got room for manoeuvring. So I've got manoeuvring room here. It's just you. And there we go. Right, let's put a whole load of, we're going to put a load of this on and some tacky glue as well. Actually, I'll use my bookbinding glue as well. This will wrinkle it a little bit, but it is having a cover on as well. It's having something on top of it as well. So it wouldn't show if it did wrinkle a bit. Just going around. I'm not going over to the edges. The edges are going to have bookbinding glue on. Probably can't see all this. It's a bit big for my table. Right, let's put some bookbinding glue on. This is Pinflair bookbinding glue. You can use any tacky, any white glue, any tacky glue you want. Just putting glue where all the cuts are. Hope you can see all this. It's a big piece of paper to have on my little area. There we go. Whoops. We can always pop more on if we need it. Right. Let's make sure I've got it the right way up. Oh, that way up. There we go. Let's place, whoops, place you on there, there, and there, and there. There. I mean, I'll be covering the spine probably with lace, and I'll be covering the front with some nice, with a front piece, you know. This is really just to get the bulk of the book covered up, really. I think I needed to cut a bit more off that one. There we go. There. There. Happy with that. Yep. Let's do the back. Let's put some more glue on these bits. They don't want to stick. This is difficult stuff to stick on, I might add, yeah. I might have to use 3-in-1 because this is like a material based tape. But I'd rather have the ability to, you know, re-glue bits than it stick like no tomorrow and then I can't adjust it. Right, this is going on the back. Let's just cut this white stuff off again. Again, they're both from the kit, so they will blend in nicely, and as I say, they will have front pieces on, and anyway, you'll see as we go along. Now, we probably won't get the signature in today. I might have to do a... Now, I was going to check, see how long we've been on here for. Oh, 36 minutes. Sorry, the time clock is right under the holder for the camera. 36 minutes. So I've got like until, yeah, but I'll have another 25 minutes really, so. It's not my favourite way of doing covers. I prefer, when using paper, to collage them. But usually when I do it like this, I'm using material. But I had so much of it, I have so much of this paper left. I thought, no, let's not get another design going. Let's keep with the same designs, you know. Don't worry about them joining. As I say, lace material will be going over there. So that doesn't matter. Here we go. As we've covered over there, let's just go over a bit more. There we are. Let it off. Right. Get my fold marks in place. There we go. Sorry, this is slightly off camera at the bottom here. You don't realise until you film how many times you lean things against you to get them secure, you know. I'm just getting my crease marks in at the moment. And I can cut my corners off then. You two go down, you go over the top, that's it, nice and neat. If you do this, it just stops it bunching up there. Right, let's do the two lots of gluing again. Yeah, I'm going to cut a bit more off there, you can see it curling. And the same here a bit. I never like to cut too much off those, otherwise you can end up with a gaping hole. Right, glue on the centre pieces. My glue's a little bit warm. There we are. Right, then let's use the bookbinding glue. I've got a big tub of this, and you can actually brush it on, but that can take quite a while to dry. And if I was probably doing this without the camera, I probably would, but for the sake of the video, I'm just doing the edges with it. Whoops. There we are. go and pop this, make sure it's the right way up. Yes, it is. Definitely. Yep. And pop you on here. Get these two corners correct. And the rest should slot into place. There we go. Fold you over. Fold you over. Fold you over. There we go. Lovely. And that's this is doing that again. There we go. There we have it. Oh. Right. Glue. Let's glue. Yep, more glue here again. We need more glue here again. Well, I hope you all had a nice weekend. I haven't asked you that, have I? It's Monday today here, so I hope you all had a nice weekend. I like that, and that you know, it was nice. The weather here was quite changeable. One day it said it was going to rain and it didn't, and the next day it said it wasn't and it did. So my washing got a little bit damp, but not. That one's going to go on the back like that. And that one's going to go on the back front like that. Inside, this is inside it's going to do. So I think I'd quite like something over this. Usually use material, but I'm not. I want another piece of this. Oh, that's the right way round. Pop you there. And if this was on there, like that, I think that would look all right, actually. That's the underneath piece. You won't see much of this because with the material. Let me just see what it looks like with the material on. I may not have to do that. Let's see. Let's pop you there. Pop you under there. I'm going up now. I prefer it on top. Oh well, I'm going to have to glue that in first then. So that will go in like that. I'll trim these. That'll go in like that. And then that will go like that, will go on there, and that will go on there like that. So they're my front and back bits. So they can't go on until the journal goes on. So put those to one side. But we can do the front and the back. So this is going to be the front piece. I want to make this. I think I'll put this on a. Yeah, let's cut that off. Let's make a front. The back's going to be straightforward. It's either going to be this, or I might leave it like that. I'll see. I'll see. Anyway, we'll make a front for it first. Let's make a front for it. So we'll cut down here. Now, do we want this on a piece of board or a bit of card? Make it a bit stronger. I think we will. Leave you there to dry for a little while. Let's get a little bit of board out. Nothing too heavy duty. I don't want a piece of like heavy duty stuff. That's quite strong. Oh, that will do. What is this? This is an old yeah, that'll make it nice and strong and sturdy. So let's make a topper for the journal. Oh, stop looking at the clock and look what you're doing, little woman. I'm only 5 foot and a peanut, so. I wonder if this will go through the guillotine. It'd be nice if it would. Sorry about the noise. Don't you move. Didn't like it very much, but it went on. Oh yeah. Make an ink around that. Yeah. I'm going to glue you on there, around the edges, and There are innumerable, so many types of toppers you can do. It's unbelievable. A lot of mine don't actually have toppers. They just have the piece of material and the name and things like that. But I'm growing quite fond of doing extra bits on the front. You've got to think of a name for this little fella here as well, because my journals all have names and numbers, and they're all catalogued, so individual. So yeah, I have to think of a name for it. If you want to put anything in the comments, think of a name for her, that would be fine. Not saying I'll use it, but you know, feel free to put some comments in. Let's pull that out. I'm going to, oh, this is this one. Should we use, yeah, we'll use this one. I'm going to use the big corner rounder on this one. And then we're going to ink that really well. And we have a good base to start with, don't we? Don't worry, there'll be something down here. I'm going to put some lace on the side of this. Sorry, can you see? I sat back for a minute, look. As you know, I don't like to see the white core. Ooh, look. Oh, what's going on here? Sorry, you can't see what I'm doing, can you? Something's coming apart here. Oh, it's this bit. It's that. It's look at this thin piece down there. It's when I've made the white, actual white piece of card. Whatever I made this white bit of card out of, I must have stuck two bits together or something. Anyway, it's glued now. That's fine. Good catch. Good catch. You have to remember, nothing's not replaceable. I mean, this, you know, we've got some more here. Perhaps this wasn't the best piece of card to use, but never mind. Let's do some repairs. Sorry, the light's off again, isn't it? I can see it flickering. Come on, stop it. It's just a ring light, but for some reason it... Yeah, it stopped. Well, it wasn't my intention to spend the next 5 minutes repairing this bit of cardboard. This bit of cardboard is thick, I think, because I've glued two bits together at some point, and then I've used it for something, then popped it in the scrap box. That's what I've done. Let's just put some pegs on that for a few minutes to get that glued down properly. Oh, I've got plastic band came out of there. Let's do you while we just get some lace out for it. And some other bits I might use on it. Right. Let's move the book out of the way for a minute. Let's just see. That's going to look all right. Yeah, it is. It fits. Ooh. Ooh, good job I checked. It's a little bit big. Ah, really? I should have checked that better, shouldn't I? Right. After repairing all those gluing, I'm going to cut this down. Yeah, like I said, it's more of a video of what not to do. My frog's back again. Right, let's try again, shall we? Let's cut that off. So I'm going to do the top to match. Excuse me. It's my frog. It's not behaving itself. Need a bit more off there to match the other side. And a bit off the bottom. Quite like to cut the bottom to match that wiggly bit, you know, and the sides actually now. Now I feel inclined. That's nice size now. Right. Let's see how much this is coming apart now. Just a little bit here. There we go. Really, I feel inclined to take it off this bit of board. It's becoming quite a pain. Look, it's two bits glued together to make it nice and thick. And it's obviously whatever I glued it with wasn't that strong, and it's coming apart. Here's my arm. I've got my elastic bands are falling in my clips. Right. Shouldn't need them really. This should just lid for this. Right. Let's get cracking. Right. Now we know it's the right size. Put them away. Let's find a piece of lace that we like. I've got this piece of lace. I'm thinking about putting it underneath here as part of my closure, you see. So before you put the topper on, you need to put this on. I didn't put it under the paper because I thought it'd just tear straight through the paper. But I thought I'd pop that on underneath everything. So I had this piece cut off, so I thought I'd use it up. So we have it like that. And we can use the same lace. Yeah, I've got loads of it here. So that can go around there before we put a topper on and the back on. So let's cut that off. That's how big that bit needs to be. I'll leave that with it so I don't forget to put it on. And then we've got another piece here, which I thought I would put on the edge here. Yes, I am going to put it on the edge here. Now, I'm in two minds now whether to put corners on it. I quite like it straight. I tell you what I am going to do. I'm going to get very cross in a minute with this bit of card. This is not calming. This video is not calming. I think I know why it's not gluing. I think it's because it's got a shiny surface. But what I don't want to do is glue it on there and then find it comes undone. So I'm going to put some paper on it, I think. We'll see how it goes. Let's carry on. Let's carry on. Let's put that here. I want that on there. So let's make what we might think to be. Thinking of putting that on there. We'll sort that bit at the bottom out. Right. Then I want some other bits from here. We'll have to stop in a minute anyway because I'm really getting very close to the time. Which is a shame because I had hoped to get the final gluing in before then, but I've got some bits and bobs left in here which I'd like to use. Some of these bits and bobs in here that I'd like to use. There's that. There's this flower as well. This one. Well, all sorts of bits in here really. We've got this. Yep. I quite like the top to be ever so slightly interactive. Where's my other one? I might be changing my mind. I might well be changing my mind. I do like that bit. That's really for writing on though. Let's not change our mind. Let's pop that on there. And then we will do some more, not sure what yet. We will do some, what I'd like to do is have a pocket here with something sticking in it. So I need a piece of paper here. And maybe, right, let's get a piece of writing. I need the writing paper, don't I? Here we go. It's all right, I'm just thinking. It's just going through my brain. I am just going through, well, there is something going through my brain. I'm not sure what it is at the moment, but I just want a piece of this writing paper here. Ah, here's a piece. Here we go. This piece, sorry, you can't see it. This piece should work. Don't need it very big, do we? Put you there. And I'll put you there. Put you there. Right. What is she doing? You're thinking, what is that woman doing? I know exactly what I'm doing, oddly enough. It may not look like it, but I do know what I'm doing. This one here. I know it's going under the lace, that's deliberate. Go under there like that. And then I want something little poking out of it. It's all going to be glued down. None of it's going to be removable. I want somebody to pick their book up and walk across the room and, you know, everything falls out of the hand, you know. That could go there. And I want a straight one as well. Tall one. Yep. See, I'm going to stick these all down. Coming out of there, but stuck down like that. And that would go on top here. I quite like that arrangement. I want something on here. And our flowers, that's too big. Yeah, should go like that. Mind you, I could put it on like that. These ones really weird because it's the way they go. If I put it on like that, it doesn't look right. But if you put it on like that, which is the way it's supposed to go, it doesn't look right on there. So I'll have to use something else on the pocket. I don't know what. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm rummaging through what's left of these bits. There's a 39 there. That's a bit big, that. Right. That's a bit big. I have got some smaller bits left. Oh, you're quite good. Quite like you. Let's pop you there. Right. I'm really going to have to stop it there. But what I think I will do is, this will be part 4. Because we did the other 3 before. And what I think I'll do is I'll make a 4 and a 5, which will both be doing this cover. But this is roughly what it's going to look like. I will carry on film. I might glue those down. But this is what it's going to start looking like. So that's that area. And there will be other things on it as well. Not too much, just a little bit more. But they are going to be glued down there. Yeah. I like that. Good. Right. Sorry, it's a bit of a weird sort of video, wasn't it? It was kind of like, this is how you put them together, but don't do it this way. Oh well, no worries. No one's perfect. Anyway, I hope you did enjoy this slightly disjointed journal and seeing how slowly my brain turns over. In our one endeavour, excuse me, between now and the next one, to get rid of the frog, take him back to the pond, and I'll see you again soon in part 5. Okay, take care everyone.